Hey guys, it's Tricky Nick here. I have a dark secret that I'm not sure many are aware of. I have never, ever played a Kirby game. Pretty ironic considering my Smash main is King DDD. Anyways, that all changed today when I decided to give Kirby and the Forgotten Land a try. Now bear with me if I have some misconceptions about the Kirby franchise, as I literally have no previous experience with this franchise. I haven't so much as sniffed in the general vicinity of this pink sphere. But since the demo of Kirby and the Forgotten Land actually allows you to get to the first boss fight, I wanted to share my thoughts on the game initially. So without further ado, here are my first impressions of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. When I first saw the trailer for Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I and many others coined it the Odyssey of the Kirby franchise, and I think I hit the nail on the head. From what I can tell, this is easily the most ambitious Kirby game to date, being the first to feature true linear 3D gameplay. I think Kirby fans have been waiting a while for this franchise to take the leap into 3D, which is also great to be finally getting for them, but I kinda just hopped on when the 3D started, so here I am. While it could have been an open world 3D platformer, I think restricting Kirby to some linearity, wait, is that even a word? Keeping Kirby to a linear style is definitely the way to go, and the reason for that I'll get into later. The game is overall extremely ambitious, with many new power-ups for Kirby to use. Things like the car, cone, and the vending machine are extremely goofy and made me chuckle when I first saw them. I may have also cried a little when the game forced me to leave the car, but that was extraordinarily fun while it lasted, and it didn't overstay its welcome, so I guess that's good. The only thing I'm not 100% on is how different the story of the game is compared to its predecessors, but as someone who plays Mario games, I should just shut my trap. So overall, the gameplay is super fun, and it seems like there are going to be evolutions of the power-ups to expand upon gameplay. It also seems that there will be a hub world where we can go do some things outside of the regular adventure, so that makes this game all the more enticing. Graphically, this game also looks fantastic, despite the major limitations of the Nintendo Switch. The cutscenes are especially detailed, which does feel a little odd when the actual game ends up looking so much less detailed, but I still like the way it looks. The colors are so vibrant and the environments are so lush, it just looks so great. The soundtrack is also incredibly well done, and left me wanting to hear more. I was only playing for about 20 minutes, but for all 20 minutes, I was vibing, brother. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. But how are the stages themselves? Did I enjoy them as much as I expected? Absolutely, and then some. The stages are very dynamic, starting you out with a nice little tutorial that teach you Kirby's moves. But then you start swallowing those yummy little enemies and boom, we've got a ton of new abilities to play around with. Now, whether or not these abilities have been in previous Kirby games, I don't know, and I honestly do not care. There's so much fun to use on enemies and objects to destroy them, or even find some star coins. No, not those star coins, these star coins. It's not just a bunch of the same enemies either. There are a wide variety of enemies in every stage, which provide multiple abilities, so you're always able to switch it up. There are also multiple objectives in every single stage, giving them more of a reason to be explored. Even though it's simple things such as finding tulips, it can be great fun. But then there was the first boss fight, and this was probably the weakest part of the demo. Before I get into why, I'll share the positives of this fight. The mall environment is unique, and I really like it. Also, the cutscene with the boss Gorimondo grabbing Kirby and throwing us right into the fight was awesome. Gorimondo himself is also super cool because he reminds me of King Kong, and he just looks really intimidating. However, the actual fight, yeah, it's pretty easy. Whereas the stages took me around 5 to 10 minutes to complete, by just spamming then floating away to mitigate as much damage as possible, I was able to beat Gorimondo in about 3. And before you say it, I was on wild mode for all of this. I'm not a wuss, at least in this case. I don't really know if this is because it's the first world of the game, or if it's just because Kirby games are notoriously easy, or a little bit of both, but this first fight was a little bit of a dud. While the stages of this world were super fun despite not being difficult in the slightest, the boss fight did not feel nearly as enjoyable. This fight also highlighted the issue of Kirby's moveset. To transition Kirby into a 3D environment, Nintendo had to make some adjustments to his moveset, namely his infinite jump. To remedy what would be a very broken ability, Nintendo basically turned Kirby's infinite jump into his up B in Smash. While his height was limited and he eventually begins to float down, Kirby still feels kind of overpowered. It allows large parts of stages to be skipped and still feels a little broken. Maybe some more tweaks to Kirby's moveset are in order before the game fully releases. So with all that out of the way, I'm sure there's one question on everybody's mind. As a first-time Kirby player, will I be getting Kirby in the Forgotten Land at launch? Well,
No.
And the reason for that is that I need to see more of the game before coming to a decision. Will the first world of Kirby and the Forgotten Land prove that easy can still be fun? If the difficulty doesn't at least somewhat ramp up throughout the game, it might just end up feeling monotonous. However, judging by the gameplay that's been seen of later worlds, it seems that Kirby and the Forgotten Land is going to ramp up in difficulty. Therefore, it is likely that I will eventually end up getting the game. I just want to make sure it's going to get harder. I want to have at least somewhat of a challenge if I'm going to be playing this game for hours on end. Anyways, those were my first impressions on Kirby and the Forgotten Land as a first-time Kirby player. If you're someone who has never played Kirby before, I definitely recommend giving it a try. Anyways, what do you guys think of Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.